Twitter is obviously dying. It's time to choose a new app to download. Wrong. Don't download anything after Twitter. You're finally free. As the phrase goes, you're all free now. Let's talk about Twitter, the fact that it's dying, and the fact that you really don't need to download anything new. I'm going to be drinking tea while making this video because it was commented that people prefer when I'm drinking something while making these videos. Twitter is obviously going down, but the question is, why is it going down? How did this happen? And where should you go after this? We kind of kid ourselves about the reality of the situation. It's like, oh, I don't only get my information from Twitter. I'm on other social networking sites. I read the news and I check out the BBC YouTube page, or I check out website news and I'm subscribed to this and that. It's like, you get your news from Twitter, whether you like it or not. Twitter has become a massive phenomenon, and it's just got too much power when it comes to reporting important news. As you've seen, even like it's just ridiculous how many things you see on Twitter when it was never really intended to be this way. It's just like the videos you see, it's just hideous, terrifying stuff. These apps don't exist because they're like a public service and they want you to have information that you're supposed to have. It's a company. It's a business. They need to make money, and by having you on the website, they've got your eyes. Apparently, the number one thing, that all companies are trying to get from you is your attention. And well, obviously, that's why ads are so expensive to do in the Super Bowl. When you get served an ad on YouTube, even though you think you've skipped the ad, what they've really done is they've focused your attention on the screen for 5 seconds, which is more than you get intention-wise when it comes to watching a TV ad or watching a Twitch ad. Most ads you can just ignore, walk away and go and do something else because, it's ad time. But on YouTube, they really have your gaze and your eyes focused on that skip ad button. I could probably just put an ad in right now, and that would be like the perfect timing to put an ad in because you want to know what I'm about to say next. It's all very clever. When it comes to Twitter, the weird thing is that now that it's dying, and whether that's an accident or whether it's happening on purpose is a completely different discussion. The biggest topic, which I don't know if people have cottoned onto yet, is that we're all talking about where we should go next. But the bigger question I want to ask is, why do we have to go anywhere? It's just this pressure that we feel that we have to replace Twitter with something like Twitter. But the truth is, to me, this is finally the jumping off point. This is where we can finally escape from the full control that this clearly $44 billion company that is Twitter. I don't know if it's actually worth that much, but it certainly isn't anymore. It's got so much money because it really has your attention. And now it's a perfect opportunity for people to, whoa, Twitter is dying. What a coincidence. I happen to hold this new social network that I want you to join. Once you've clicked join on any of these random networks that people are suggesting to you on the timeline, like, oh, we all have to escape Twitter and go to this other social network. It's just too convenient for these companies. It's a massive business opportunity because they can advertise stuff to you and there's money in that. And not only that, it's mixed up with politics because if you haven't just got people's attention and gaze for selling them stuff, but not just stuff, you can sell them ideas, ideologies, political leanings. I want everyone to realize that you don't have to join another social network. You don't have to give more of your personal information to other companies so that they can figure out exactly what it is you want and sell you stuff in the most insidious ways. I mean, advertising, again, whether advertising itself is evil or not, the way that it's handled is just too clever. And now that I've got my own child, I'm being very, very careful with what kind of programming I let him watch, because programming, as in TV programs, I watched a lot of that stuff as a kid, and now that I've finally grown up, I can see how much power it has over me. Finally, when I'm able to break away from certain franchises, it's only when I look on it now that I'm realizing I didn't actually need any of that stuff. The number one thing for me that I broke free of, or maybe the point when I realized that I need to break free of all these things that I've been sold, was the Volkswagen Beetle. There was a movie. I don't know, is it a Disney movie? I think it might even be a Disney movie, but it was called The Love Bug. And it's all about this Volkswagen Beetle, which is alive. It can drive around by itself and help them solve crimes and whatever. That car was on the roads everywhere. And then it was the character Bumblebee in Transformers. It's just been pocketed in all these different places. And I still don't feel like it's something that I just naturally wanted and thought, oh, what a good car. I feel like it was just dug into my mind that this is like an important thing that I should have. And it goes for Power Rangers, it goes for Japanese anime products, it goes for PlayStation games, Nintendo games. Like the way that Japan infiltrated the West with video games is so incredibly clever. And if they had played their cards right, they would be massively profiting off of it now, but I don't think they really are. I mean, it's another discussion to be had in another time, but Japanese gaming is kind of becoming less relevant. Twitter didn't die. Twitter is being murdered. And the reason is to start afresh on some other platform, which they can force you to go to, because everyone will go to the platform where everyone's at. Whether you want to go to this platform instead or that platform instead, or there's some indie new app that's come out and I want to join that platform, it doesn't really matter because there's going to be a bigger place where everyone is. And it's not about choosing the best app with the best features. It's about, as a majority, voting on the one app that's going to matter. Who's going to be in control of that app, though? It's worth considering whether this is not something that should exist under the control of one company. Like maybe it needs to be run by like some kind of United Nations style organization that can vote democratically on what the app can and can't do so that it's as fair as possible. But I don't know. I don't even know if that's something that could be trusted to some sort of United Council of the Earth. I feel like this is a real opportunity to escape the trap of having to give more of your details to another company that will be in control of your gaze. The next thing I want to talk about is just how I feel like, even though I kind of dislike Twitter, and I think most people do, somehow we can't pull ourselves away from it. That's like the main thing. I feel like, at least on Facebook, when I used to use it, it was like there was a reason to be there. You could see other people's photos. You could connect with old friends that you haven't seen for a long time. There was like a reason to use Facebook. And it was kind of annoying, but you knew what the reason was. With Twitter, I opened the app not knowing really why. And then I kind of, I don't know if the word is doom scrolling, but I just kind of flip through until I find something interesting, but it doesn't end. I know that there are various addictions in my life, like sugar or caffeine, drinking coffee, or playing video games. I'm aware of all these addictions, but Twitter is the one that actually feels like an addiction. It's one of those technologies that I don't think the human brain has been properly prepped for. In school, you're taught how to deal with drugs, how to deal with general addictions and things, but no one taught me in my generation how to deal with the way that computers and algorithms and AI and all of the modern day stuff is just infiltrating our minds. I'm not prepared, and I think most people are just not prepared. The takeaway is, I think this is a good opportunity to delete Twitter and not download a new app, just to take some time off and get some perspective. What do I actually have this app for? And how can I identify what it is that is so addictive so that I can make my life better? For me, the main thing is, one, time on just constantly scrolling through it, trying to find something interesting. And two, just mentally, I find it very taxing. Almost like I think that I'm reading the news, but then I close the app and I feel worse. Like I've got less motivation than before. It's not because I'm seeing people whose lives are better than mine and I'm jealous. And it's not the opposite. It's not like, whoa, the world is such a terrible place. Now I'm depressed. It's just something about the way that Twitter is like infiltrated my mind and other people's minds that it's like, I feel like a zombie. I constantly feel like a zombie when I try to figure out why I'm reopening the app. I can't actually say why. And it's because I don't really know why. I think on a very basic level, Twitter just does the thing where it makes you feel good and then you remember that it felt good and that scrolling through the timeline led to feeling good. For me, it's finding something funny or clever. When I see a tweet that has like got a clever pun in it or some funny joke or a meme, any of these things, these are like cultural phenomena that will be remembered forever because they're so powerful. Not because they're really better jokes than ever before, but because of the way they capture culture and then encapsulate it into something that becomes viral and known by everyone. These random little things and that you find on Twitter, especially memes, they cause you to feel a small amount of joy or satisfaction that your brain remembers, and you're constantly like searching for that buzz again. And all you know is that scrolling through the timeline is what led to that buzz. You don't know which accounts to look at specifically. You don't know what time of day to look at your timeline specifically. There's no way to really figure out exactly how to get this buzz. All you know is that scrolling Twitter leads to satisfaction. Now that Twitter is dying, I'm like even more hooked onto it. I feel like I've been more engaged on Twitter than I've ever been. And it's mostly because Twitter is dying. But it's not information that I need to know. Don't care. I don't actually have any vested interest in Twitter, really. I'm interested in YouTube. I'm interested in video games. I'm interested in my creative output. I'm interested in playing the piano. I'm interested in writing some guitar tunes. There's so much stuff that I want to do, but so much of my time gets wasted scrolling through Twitter, hoping that maybe I'll feel some of that joy again. And then every now and then it does happen, very randomly, but it does happen. It's like, here's a meme that I like. It's probably all completely programmed by the algorithm. It knows what kind of stuff that I pause my thumb on and look at longer than other tweets. It knows that it should give that sort of thing to me every few minutes or every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes, whatever it is. It knows that like the pace at which I'm scrolling is starting to slow down and that I'm about to close the app. It's so insidious. I don't know if you've ever done this, but after closing the app, I literally just click on the Twitter icon again and relaunch the app. I'm like, oh, I've got to get off this website. Oh, I wonder what's happening on Twitter. I just closed the app a split second ago. It says no notifications. I close the app and then I get to the home screen and then that little red number appears and it's just like, why did you close me? Come back in. Twitter is dying. They want you to download the new Twitter, whatever that's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be. And I know that it doesn't really matter what app you choose. The world is going to choose by majority a new app, which is going to replace Twitter. And you're not going to have really much choice. If you want to be part of this conversation that you are like, when you're part of Twitter, you're going to have to go to the app that everyone's using. But the truth is, when I do successfully close Twitter and go back to my real life, I realize I don't need anything that's on Twitter. I don't need any of the stuff that I saw that day. And if I try to remember hard, I can't remember what was shown to me on Twitter. I don't remember what was so funny. Twitter is not something that I think the human mind is really prepared to battle against. It has too much control over us, and even if you're a really smart person and you have great willpower and you've done lots of research, I think it's still going to be hard when you think about what it's being used for in terms of political agenda and advertising and money making off of our brains, and just planting information in our minds so that the next time we need to buy something, there's only one product that we can think of because it's already been marketed to us in a really covert way. This is an opportunity to escape. You're all free now. That phrase comes from this clip that they play at the end of fighting game tournaments. Obviously, I can't really get off these things because I need to continue using it to, share the thumbnails, share the links to these new videos. That's what my business is, really. So I can't fully escape it, but I can escape it on a personal level and only use it to send out the links to my videos and connect with people that way. I have to do better. I have to do better. You have to do better. We all have to do better. And this is our opportunity to be free once again. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really just wanted to talk about Twitter at length and finally had a chance to get all of this off my mind. I've been thinking about it, I say all week, for the past 3 weeks while Twitter's been in a death spiral, but I don't think any of this is a coincidence. They just want to control where you go next. And the next app you go to may not be the same, it may not have the same political leaning as the app that you're used to. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to check out this one. It's on the topic of being the best version of you. And if you want to capitalize on your time and be more efficient, this is probably what you need to do. Anyway, that's all for now. See you next time.